Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome back to the SqueekyDogCast.
Hello.
Welcome back. How's it going? So now we're 2 into the year. Now we got our feet fully cooked in. We can't back out now. No pull out. You know?
No pull out.
Yeah. The year we can't go back to 2024. That gate is shut. It's like
That
progressing
is that
past.
is shut.
Like
We are here and the world is on fire again.
yeah, literally this time. Oops, I didn't mute my phone.
God damn it.
Oops, that's because I hit streaming. Oops.
You fucking.
I was live
Are we gonna have to
momentarily
do the
there.
intro again?
No, I'm still recording. That was just a funny bit
Okay.
there. I hit streaming and recording like I was doing a normal stream. Now, if you look on your Discord, there's a self promo there.
Uh,
Ignore that. Well, let me post to my server. Ignore the live notif you got. I misclicked.
yeah,
There we
well,
go. Okay, anyway, we'll keep that in. That's funny.
that is funny.
The
The world is on
world
fire.
is literally on
California
fire.
burns.
Yeah, LA County, LA City is on fire. I'm gonna pull up the live map. Um,
I just want to say I do blame one specific thing that I think is the largest contributor to the fires.
Tell me.
Mismanagement.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. This is like a million disasters that are kind of compiling on top of each other in terms of city management that it's just kind of like, oh, of course this happened. So I have this here pulled up. This is the this is the fire
Palisades fire.
this is the Palisades fire down here. This is from the
That's the big one.
California.gov. Yeah, this is the one that is like I
I
think this
saw
is the first
footage
one.
of the coast. Dear God, it's
Yeah.
gone. It's
Yeah,
all
it's
gone.
gone. This whole area
Those
is just
people are
gone.
fucked.
Yeah, no, like 100,000 people are going to be left homeless from this in California. There's also the one up here on Sunset Boulevard.
Wait, 100,000 people are going to be homeless in a state that hates the homeless. Oh,
Exactly.
cool, great, grand,
There's
wonderful.
also
What
this
the fuck is
fire.
Gavin going to do about this?
There, Gavin. These here's Pasadena, up here,
Pasadena.
which is I believe this is where Sunset Boulevard is, right? So this is Sunset Boulevard, somewhere West Sierra. Now I don't know where Sunset is. I don't know the
You're from the
L.A.
opposite side of the country. You're about as far from LA as I am from you.
pretty much. Sunset Boulevard was somewhere over here. There was a fire near it. I just don't know where Sunset Boulevard is.
Have
Where's
you heard
Roseanne?
they've evacuated the celebrities?
Yeah, they evacuated everyone. If you look on the evacuation orders, there was a different site that had the warnings basically be the entire city, but I don't know which site that was. I forgot.
Well, I mean,
This is
there's
the one that
a
the news
state
has
of
been using.
emergency in
Yeah,
LA now.
yeah, pretty much. There's see over here in Glendale, I believe the fire was over here earlier. Um, there's a lot of it was really fun, not funny, but like what I've been thinking about because I don't know anyone from LA. I don't have any family in LA, but the only people I know who live in LA are like YouTubers. So I'm like, man, I wonder how like San is dealing with this.
My
San,
son lives in LA.
yeah, San lives in LA. I think he lives in West Hollywood. But I remember someone saying in Vosh's chat that Hassan had ended his stream to go rescue someone who was stuck in traffic, his friend or something. Um, that's good for him. But like I was just
But
like,
this
yeah,
is
this is
clearly
bad.
an issue of mismanagement. This is
Yeah.
so much an issue of
So
mismanagement.
I want to pull
Because
up
I
some stuff
I
here.
obviously I know only like a slight bit myself, being even further from LA than you are.
Yeah.
But they cut the budget for the fire department.
Yeah, I'm
5%,
trying to pull up
not a
that graph.
ton, but
I'm trying to pull up the graph they had that really illustrated the point here. But it seems like I have to do a little bit of digging. I remember seeing it on Vosh's stream where there was a real good a real good like visual of it shown off. Here it is. Here I found it. Okay, it's from
Find
Fox 11. I had to scroll down. Here. God damn it! I hate you, Fox. This should. Oh my god.
right
So
click,
okay.
open image, and
Oh, oh, there we go. So as you can see on this, this is from 2024 to 2025. So this shows their priorities. This doesn't show the total budget, obviously, because these are
right.
negatives.
I can see that 17.6 was
Yeah.
what was taken from
So
the
the
fire
fire
department.
department lost 17.6 million, while the police gained 126 million. Like, and you can look down here. It's not just the fire
Like,
department. Street
about
services.
this. I knew about the 17.5 that they took from the fire department, but they gave 126 million. Well,
Yeah,
I guess there's gonna be no crime in the land of like fucking ash and cinder.
the LA budget, the LAPD budget is considered around 2.14 billion. That's how much the LAPD get. It's more than the U.S. military. Like, I'm not sorry, it's not more than the U.S. military. It's more than some countries' militaries. Like
Yes, it's probably more than my country's military.
South African military spending, 3 billion. It is South Africa, which is probably the most militant country in that area.
What?
Well, you guys are the biggest,
Our
so
our
like, well,
military
you're bigger than all your
our
neighbors.
military
So
is
like,
literally a
by size,
joke.
by size alone, though, you guys are bigger than all your neighbors. So you're gonna have a bigger budget than a lot of other African countries. Military budgets are frequently very high, but it being comparable to a military's budget, like 3 billion for a military probably isn't a lot. It's a lot of money, and it's probably a lot more than all your neighbors. But that's also just a billion
Um,
more than that's like
well,
a third more.
Botswana might actually beat us out on that.
Botswana. Well, I guess Botswana is like a isolationist little fucking bubble country.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't call them isolationist as much as very strict on the border, if that
That's
makes
yeah,
sense.
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. They use the wrong word, I
Like,
guess.
yeah, I mean, I look, they do kind of infer similar things, so like, it's not a big slip, but
Yeah,
just I I I I just want to clarify, like, I wouldn't call them isolationist.
yeah.
They
Um,
gave 1.8 million to cannabis
I just
regulation.
saw that. Yeah, like a lot of this stuff here, like recreation park. Those are good things, but why the fuck does this get so much money? And why the fuck does street services and fire and sanitation get their shit down? General services, information. No, that doesn't really matter. Public works. Um, what else?
Aging.
Aging. Yeah, like retirement businesses and stuff. Like it's really fucking annoying that like this is the priorities of LA County, LA City Council, which is primarily Republicans. Let's not beat around the bush. LA City Council is a lot of Republicans. The LA govern like the Californian governorship, the LA mayor, those are Democrats, but the LA City Council is a lot of Republicans because a lot
But
of
they
them
weren't, remember, like,
are old
LA
fucks.
wasn't historically Democrat.
No, it's not. It's not like a historically liberal city like San Francisco is, or like I don't know, fucking other cities in the country, like Atlanta. It's not like that.
Yeah. I
It's a
mean, like,
very
even
conservative.
California as a whole, they had Schwarzenegger, who was a Republican,
Yeah, he
yes?
was the last Republican governor, and it was in the early 2000s. And before then, they had Reagan as a governor back in like the 60s, 70s, or the hell. So like,
Oh, God.
so like, California has a history of being very conservative, and obviously, like, this is where all the fucking billionaires and like entertainment moguls and shit live. This is where all the movie stars and stuff live, and a lot of them are very conservative. So, like, those types of people live here. You know,
E-cigarettes.
I was watching coverage of the fire, and they were in I think it was Pasadena, where they were like, "Oh, this is a very historic area. You know, this is where Henry Ford lived," and it's like, you know, there's like millions of people losing their homes right now, and you're talking about like the famous houses around here. Like that's kind of like I understand if it's like a landmark
Oh,
that's
no, we've lost Henry Ford's house, you
like
know?
I understand some of the stuff. Like they were really
Monument to fucking capitalism.
they were talking about like, oh, there's this really historic tree lighting area where it's like the first tree lighting ceremony in the world was held here, and it's kind of a big deal for that sort of stuff, and it's like a very big cultural like cultural pride mark for a lot of people in the neighborhood, and they're trying to protect it because the fire's getting really close, and it's like, oh, that's sweet of them, because it was like people who weren't from town, like they were just like stuck there, so like, all right, let's go fucking protect the tree lighting. um but like stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, sure, but then it's like Henry Ford's house was right nearby and they were talking about it. It's like, I don't give a fuck about Henry Ford's house. Just like, ugh. Of course, here,
It is.
The Hills, part of Beverly Hills, with all the rich people live over here. There's the Hollywood Hills, Beverly Hills. Of course, these people are all fine. Oh, here's Santa Monica. I was looking for Sunset, but I found Santa Monica. Where's Sunset? Beverly, Beverly Boulevard. I don't know where Sunset is. Sunset Boulevard is what the Hollywood Theater is on and stuff. Yeah, no, sorry, the Chinese Theater, not the Hollywood Theater. The Chinese Theater.
Man's Chinese theater.
Yeah, the Chinese Theater. The Walk of Fame, all that stuff. That's on Sunset. I've never been to LA. Probably never will. If I ever did go to LA, I'd probably go for Universal Studios. God, LA is just so big. This shit sprawls fucking forever. Look at this.
Mm. Everybody wants to move down and be a movie star.
And all this shit's like single family homes. Look at this shit. This is all single family homes. Like
Yeah, but
all
that's
of it.
kind of like an American problem, though.
Yeah.
That's more than just California.
It's
That's an
especially
American.
it's especially a West Coast problem. Like, I was watching Vosh, and he was talking about the NYC congestion pricing, which is basically just if you use your car in NYC, you have to pay for the day. In
I mean,
order, I like that
that
because it
makes sense
encourages
for a big
people.
city like that,
It encourages people
especially
to
with
walk and also take trains, and also encourages
like look,
businesses to improve walking outside.
tra- like New York has a really robust inner city public transport system as a whole,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I've heard
There's the taxi services that New York is famous for. There's the
buses, subway.
buses,
Harlem has a
subway,
monorail, but I think that's closed down.
but also like a lot of it is kind of walkable. You know, it's
Yeah,
not something you can say about a lot of American cities, and this that New York's really walkable.
yeah. Whenever I visit New York, I just walk around. I mean, I took a taxi from Penn Station. I don't remember. Grand Central. I took a taxi from Grand Central Station, wherever the hell it's called, I forget the name, to the Met, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, because that's a fucking like that's like the length of Central Park, basically. So I wasn't walking that, but because that's just such a long distance. But like after we got to where we needed to go, we just like walked around and it was really nice. Like we got to where we needed to go very nicely. We were gonna go into Central Park, but it started raining and stuff. The one thing I think New York misses is shade. It's like the one thing it kind of misses. But like the buildings are so big that sometimes it doesn't matter. Like LA is
Yeah,
really small. It's a really short city, like in terms of like height. So there's really no building like to like shield you from the heat, and there's no trees because they cut them all down.
and it's a hot part of the country.
And it's a
It just
fucking
seems.
desert. It's an actual desert. So like
Yeah,
that's a miserable. At least New York is like in the northeast part of the U.S. where it's
burning.
pretty cold. It snows in New York, and there's wind in New York, and it's like cool breezes, and also there's like the shade of the buildings. Like New York is just kind of pleasant. But like I've heard from bus users in New York right now that it's like their buses don't have to get stuck in traffic because less people are driving and stuff. And anyway, in that video, the reason why I brought that up is because in that video, Vosh mentioned how like he kind of made it seem like his idea of New York that is that there's Manhattan and everything outside of Manhattan is like single family suburbs because of like LA East Coast brain, because that's how it is that's how it is on the West Coast. Sorry, not the East Coast, West Coast. A lot of East Coast stuff. Like outside of Manhattan, you have Brooklyn, the Queens, Harlem. Oh, sorry, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, Harlem, Jersey City, Hoboken, Newark, Newark, if you're from there. You know, it's like a lot of other cities sprawl in every direction. The suburbs, the only suburbs really is Staten Island. It's like, I don't know, it's just kind of like a West Coast kind of thing for it to be like big, like couple buildings, and then everything else is single family homes. Because there's like so much space out on the West Coast, and all of it was
yeah,
developed post cars.
It was built for cars.
There's
I
like,
mean, Henry Ford.
yeah,
Henry
Henry
Ford's
Ford,
out.
yeah. There's like, it's just such a depressing environment. But yeah, LA, it's on fire.
Do you
Of
know it's not
course,
depressing?
hold on, wait, I just want to say one thing. Of course, by the way,
Mhm.
um, this is going to be used by the right to like mock California for like years. Gonna be like, I remember seeing so many people in like the comments of the news live streams going, "Ha, California's on fire. I hope they all die and shit." It's like, what is wrong with you? What
Yeah,
is wrong
that's a
with you?
bit. That's a wrong take.
I wouldn't say that if it was Miami, like and it's Republicans are burning. I wouldn't say that. That's horrific. Like whenever a hurricane hits Florida, I'm just like, damn, that shit sucks. Why the fuck
Like there are
motivates
real
someone to be
people who
like
live
that?
there. Like
Yeah,
we know about like lumping people into cultural groups here, but like no, there's real people who live there. Real people
yeah,
who are visiting there from overseas. Real people who are like passing through from other states. You know,
yeah.
like this. There's a lot going
It
on.
just
It's
really
not just oh the
shows.
Floridians fuck them.
It
Like
just really shows that sometimes people's ideologies just boil down to I want to hurt people and I want a convenient excuse for it.
yeah, this
I
is
see
true.
that whenever I see it with lefties, it's always just calling people rich and saying they deserve it. Like I saw that a lot too, where I was like, "Oh, these rich people, these are
I
all
mean the
rich people
submarine
dying."
thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, the submarine thing's kind of just funny. That's like five people who did something really
Look,
stupid. The
it's
only one I feel
five
bad for is the
people.
kid.
It's five real, living,
This
breathing
is
like people
true.
who
This
put
is
their pants
true.
on one leg at a time, who take shits every other day.
This is
Like they
very
are
true.
people. They're human fucking beings.
But
When you
also
cut them,
seeing
do they not bleed?
But also seeing someone go out and like charge down an elephant, that is a real person who lives and breathes, but he also charged
Yeah,
down an elephant and it's very funny that he did that.
but look, like the submarine thing. Yes, it's kind of dumb to want to do all of that they did, right?
Yeah.
We can admit that, but it's not the same kind of dumb as charging down an elephant. It's not the same kind
True,
of dumb as
true,
wrestling a
fair,
lion.
fair.
Like
But that's yeah, but
if
that's
I go out now and I go fucking wrestle a lion, like what do I fucking expect? But those people in that submarine did expect safety. They
true, that's
were
fair.
told that this was a sane and fine thing to do. Everything had been tested. Like the say what you want, but put it down to hubris.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, those weren't people like charging down a fucking elephant.
I think we're a bit lost from where we started here. What I mean to say with the bringing that up is like a lot of people were saying like they were looking at like housing prices of the people living in like Pasadena or wherever the hell, and it's like, oh, these are homes that cost almost $1 million, and they're like, oh, these are rich people, and it's like, no, it's fucking LA. Everything costs $1 million because it's the most expensive fucking city to live in the
Yeah,
country.
one bedroom apartment that's like open
Yeah,
plan and has like 3 feet of moving space.
well, that's more of a New York thing,
But
but yeah,
yeah, but you get my point.
yeah,
Is like
it's
you
like
get a
that
tiny ass place in California,
for a
you're
million
just lucky
dollars.
you got a place.
Yeah, and it's like these are rich people. They deserve it. It's like you're not actually a leftist. You're just a fucking violent person who just wants to hate people and have a reason to hate them. Like that's all you are. You're not. You don't have an
Nobody
ideology. You
sticks
don't
to
have a
their
point.
ideology as long as it makes them feel warm and fuzzy inside.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to something else. What do you have
What
for
do you-
us?
what do I have for us today? Do you like tattoos?
I don't. I mean, I'd probably get a tattoo or two, but I'm not huge on them myself. I mean, other people, I think they look cool on. I just don't think I'd look good with a tattoo.
I have three
I know, and
tattoos.
I think you look good with them.
And I like tattoos very much. I would like to have roughly 300 tattoos, but
Oh
like,
wow.
financial that's very expensive to get to. But I do have tattoos. I do want many, many more. What do you think about tattooing people under the age of 18?
I think anything over the age of like 14 is like completely fine on my part. Like, yeah, you kind of know what you're getting into. Anything under 14, I'm like, I just don't think
So,
you think enough.
what do you think about a 9-year-old getting a tattoo?
Okay, so my brother is 10, and that motherfucker can't
Is an
think.
idiot.
Yeah, he can't think about anything. I'm just like, So you're 9, and you're gonna be making a decision about something you're getting in your body. Okay, I want a Spider-Man tattoo. Like, what are you getting as a tattoo at 9 years old? An American flag. Wait, what does he want? He wanted the.
She
Oh, sorry.
asked
Sorry.
for a
She.
portrait of Trump
Oh my
on her neck.
god. Oh my god. Wait, hold on.
That's what she asked for, by the
She
way.
asked for that,
That's
not
not
the
what she got.
parents.
She asked for that.
Okay. Okay. Now I don't feel bad because okay. So I don't. I don't.
The story goes many wild ways. That's why I'm taking you down the journey.
Okay.
She was talked down from the Trump portrait to an American flag on her arm because apparently she wanted the Trump portrait on her neck.
Oh my god. Like a fucking like a
It's
prison
crazy.
tattoo.
This 9-year-old's fucking crazy. Anyway, so here's the story. This motherfucker, this guy who goes by Sosa,
So
right?
okay.
Right? He's the co-owner of Black Onyx Empire Tattoo. I
Onyx is
think it's
such a
in
good word. I just got a note.
Yuma
I just got a
in
note.
Arizona.
Arizona.
It is a good word. But he's in Arizona, he's in Yuma. I don't know much about Arizona as a whole other than it's
It's
a
pretty right
whole.
wing. It's
Like
a pretty.
it's like beyond
It's
politics.
hot. It's a very hot state. It's at the
Yeah,
hottest
it's
state.
just a desert.
It's a desert.
It's a desert.
Think of
It's a
Fallout New
hot
Vegas
hole.
in real life.
I pretty much figure they could film Fallout New Vegas in Arizona.
I think they did with the Fallout show. I think they filmed the Fallout show in Arizona. Well, let me double check that actually. While you like give the preliminary stuff here.
So her and her parents are apparently from outside the US.
Oh, I was wrong. It was
They
Utah
are Utah.
and also New Jersey apparently. Probably for like interiors.
So I don't know if they mention it here, but apparently they're from Turkey.
Oh my
Don't
god,
you
they're not
remember
even
from Turkey?
American. They're getting this fucking
No,
tattoo.
no. Yes, yes. That's why I said this takes lots of twists and turns. So they came here from Turkey, immigrants from Turkey, and apparently they see Donald Trump as a hero, like the family.
It's
Like they
very
are
common
very
for
Trump
immigrants.
supporting. But this makes sense to me because Turkey is like an Orthodox Christian reserved.
No, they're
Yes,
Muslim.
they're Christian. Historically, they're
No,
Christian. Orthodox Christianity pretty
hold
much
on.
started.
No, they're Muslim. Turkey's like 90% Muslim. Yeah,
I'm looking this
Islam.
up.
90 to 99% identify as Sunni Muslim. Same, the
Either
same, the
way,
same, the same
they're
point stands here.
conservative either way.
Yeah, it's a conservative
They are
country,
conservative,
regardless of the religion.
and they do have a big history with Christianity. The reason that they're not Christian now is because of historically being invaded and conquered. But they that remember that Turkey is where Orthodox Christianity started.
Yeah, Byzantines.
The Byzantines, and then the Byzantines
What it was
got
called
invaded
Anatolia.
Anatolia. Yes. So this makes sense for them to view Trump in a positive light. And didn't Trump say positive things about the Turkish president
Yeah,
anyway?
because Erdogan is a dictator. So they're like,
Yes,
yeah, I
Erdogan.
love Erdogan. He's a good friend of. I can't do him anymore. I lost my Trump vote. I love Erdogan. He's a good friend of mine. He says many nice things about me.
But so yeah, so they came here, and apparently the little girl wanted a Trump portrait tattoo, and the parents came in, and the tattoo artist says like he usually cuts off at like there are laws there that allow you to tattoo minors
Yeah.
as long as the parents give permission and are present. That seems fine. That seems completely reasonable. I think 9 is fucking young,
9 is really young. I never made good decisions when I was 9.
but you know, there's always context, right? There's always
Yeah.
context. Like if a 9-year-old girl wants a tattoo, like a small, like 2-inch tattoo of a unicorn on her ankle, fucking just give it to her. You know, it's cheaper than buying a goddamn pony.
I just the thing with tattoos when you're young, it's just like they have like little temporary tattoos. Cause like Children don't.
Yes,
Children are really fickle. They're really, really
they are.
fickle. I
Look, I'm
imagine a
not
child.
disagreeing with you there,
Yeah,
but like, are you really gonna regret
I
the
would.
unicorn,
I
little
would.
unicorn tattoo?
I would. Like I could
Because
just see
here's
that
the thing, right?
happening. Like
Think
people
about
change.
getting a political figure tattooed on your body at 9 years old.
That's just the worst. That's like people getting swastikas tattooed onto them in like 19 fucking 40s and shit.
And think about this, the parents supported this enough to take her to the
Of course.
tattoo parlor.
Of course they did. Of course they did.
But here's the thing, is he says he could usually cuts off the age at 15, which is fine, right? It's his prerogative.
Yeah.
But he was moved by their story.
Oh my.
Fine, whatever. He says he doesn't generally do this. This was a one-time thing, and like he would go back and do it again if he had to. This was something he stands by. So his side of the story is clear.
Mhm. How does it get
This has
worse?
now been a year later.
A year later.
Yeah, this is actually an old story. It's developing. You see, the thing is that it's all blowing up now. Like you can see, this was published 25. So this is all blowing up now. Because he told her, like, if you still want the Trump tattoo in a year, then you can come back and I'll give it to you. And she did come back and she just got touch-ups on her tattoo.
You got what?
Touch-ups.
Oh, touch-ups. There's a tat shops. I'm like, yeah, that's where you go to get a tattoo.
Yeah. She got a touch-up on her tattoo. So she didn't get the Trump tattoo. But I think that there's a lot here that can be taken apart. Number one, I obviously am an advocate for tattoos.
Mm.
I mean, I've even seen, like, there's a group of alternative living people, and they have a video on YouTube. I'll show it to you sometime. I won't pull it up now. But the their daughter, I think she was like 7 or 8 at the time. There's a video of her tattooing her father, and I think that's really cute.
I wouldn't trust a
Not
7-year-old
him
with
tattooing
doing
her.
anything.
No, but like
Start
if
stabbing
you
you.
saw the father, he's basically head to toe tattoos. He's
Oh,
full
okay.
body like coverage. So getting his daughter to scribble a little thing on him is not a massive deal.
No, I just wouldn't
But I
do it
think
because
it's
she's
really
gonna
cute.
cut me. Get like stab me with it or some shit.
No, apparently she's been trained because they're all tattoo artists. The
Makes
mother and
sense.
the father.
Can I say this about tattoos? I don't know if it's a controversial opinion. I would never get a tattoo that's got color in it. That looks like shit. I'm not gonna lie.
You do need to go for more touch-ups.
Like that just looks like bleh.
You do
Like
need to
it's an
go
eye,
for more
like
touch-ups.
it's a distract, like a black and white, like just tattoos, like just black, white. That's cool. That I could see, like that stuff looks cool. Whenever you get into I saw her American flag tattoo. That just looks tacky.
But here's the thing. Here's an image of the actual tattoo.
It looks like a
That
stamp.
you know what? That actually this must be fresh because this still looks really rough.
It looks like a stamp.
But like,
Like all I have to say is why didn't
what happens? What
like
happens when she no longer agrees with this?
get it burning? I don't know.
Like, laser removal is a slow, painful process that you know.
You got to get a cover up tattoo then. Like
Yeah, but those are also very like.
just make it burning. That's all I have to say. Make the flag burning. Boom. Now you're
Either
like
way,
the opposite stance.
either way, I think that what's really the most problematic about the story isn't the tattoo, isn't the fact that she's 9, isn't like any of that. It's the fact that you're getting a politically charged tattoo on a child. What the fuck do they know about politics? Like, it's
Exactly.
not even about the tattoo thing. This is why I use the example of like a little unicorn. Give the girl a fucking unicorn. Like, make it a tattoo that oh, I got this when I was 9. It's like, oh, this American flag, you're living in like post nuclear American apocalypse, and you're like, yeah, I love America. The American flag is where it's at. It's like this country nuked itself. You fucking idiot.
Especially for like Turkish immigrants. Like it's
Like,
so
what
weird.
if
It's
they
so
get bought by
weird.
the Trump administration, right? Like just that, just the realistic thought of what if they're just part of the groups of people that are thrown out of the country for not being American enough.
They probably will be if things go the way the Republicans want them to.
Right. So like I think that this is insane for the fact that she wanted a Trump tattoo and her parents were fucking into it.
I'm
But I mean,
just
look, they do come from a country
gobsmacked.
where like dictatorship is norm.
Yeah. Trump says Governor Gavin Newsom chose. Oh, go back down. Chose to save an extinct fish instead of sending water to Southern California to fight apocalyptic fires.
Trump's an idiot.
I guarantee. Oh my God! There's a giant truck passing by. I don't know if you can hear it.
I did hear it.
There's a massive truck just driving by. The only thing that ever drives by. Um.
This is all
Yeah,
fucking
it's
bullshit.
fucking New York Post. It's all dog shit.
It's awful, awful
They
stuff.
had the New York Post listed on my job in like the newspaper stands. And the New York Post articles are always either racist as fuck or like complete like old man boomer like look at this, the
But
hot woman shit.
I'm curious though. You said when I mentioned this in passing to you before the podcast, you said you'd have an opinion I wouldn't like, but I don't think I've heard one that I really
I
like.
thought you wouldn't like me
Again.
saying that tattoos on kids is kind of dumb and shouldn't happen.
Well, I mean,
I thought that would upset you a bit.
not really, because it's completely reasonable.
Fair.
Like tattoos, here we have a thing, right? Tattoos are permanent.
Exactly.
Like they're permanent in the way of, yeah, you can get a cover-up tattoo, you can get laser tattoo removal, you can fucking literally get scarification and cut that part of like the tattoo off your arm. Like there's so many wild and stupid ways that you can get rid of the quote unquote permanent tattoo. But herein lies the problem. And you're so young. You're so impressionable. Like that girl at 9 years old hasn't had a chance to formulate her own politics.
Yeah. And she's already having a tattoo put on her because her parents are probably huge Trump supporters and she's around that environment.
I mean, what's to say that in 10 years or 20 years when she's, let's say, in her 30s, and she's somebody who wants to take pride in her Turkish heritage?
And she's a big fucking
Like,
American flag on her arm.
yeah, like, you don't really know who you're going to be when you grow up. You think certain ways and you logic certain things and you are a person at 9, but you don't know enough about the world. You haven't absorbed enough of it yet.
Yeah.
So I can completely see where you say it's stupid to get a tattoo on a kid. I mean, even 15,
Especially
it's a
because
little on the young side, I'd say, as
I was
somebody
mostly
who
saying that
loves
to
that.
appease you. I think like 16 is like the age. It's like okay, yeah, I understand what I'm doing. 16, 15 maybe.
Yeah, like
16 though is around the time you generally vibe with it.
I think once you hit, look, why are things so unstandardized when it comes to age, right?
Well,
You
I
can't
mean,
drink at 18 in the US,
well,
but you
it's
can
basically
drive at
it's
16.
two ages, 18 and 21. Those are the two ages for everything. 18
You
is
can
like the
drive at
beginning
16.
age. In some states, that one's state by state, and that one is because of tractors. It's because of farms, because you need a license to drive a tractor, so a lot of rural states have driver's license lower because you need to be able to drive a tractor when you're younger, and also there's less people on the road, so it doesn't there's like less safety concern because there's less like having to do defensive driving and stuff. It's mostly the urban states like New Jersey and New York that have higher driving ages.
All right, but like, there's your three major life events as you grow into an adult, right? You get your drivers, you get the ability to sign for yourself, and you get to partake in narcotics, legal narcotics. And yes, I am labeling alcohol a narcotic.
Because alcohol is a drug.
Yes,
It's only
it is a
not a
drug,
drug for like legal fucking shit.
but like cigarettes as well is lumped in with alcohol.
Yeah, cigarettes and alcohol.
And I think like also buying a gun,
Narcotics? Narcotics?
buying a gun.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I thought you were talking about narcotics still. I was like,
I was just like thinking of the ATF,
yeah.
alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
Yep.
Anyway, like if I just I think standardizing the age to 18 is fine for all of it, all of the above.
Yeah, I think so.
Like if you came like where you are now at your age, you can't drink.
No, I can't. If I went to like
But
Italy,
if
I
you
can.
came here, you could have been drinking for 2 years.
Yeah.
I think almost anywhere in Europe, you could have been drinking for 4 years.
16? That's a little
So
young.
European drinking laws are a little bit more complex. They're very much like, as you say, like your driving laws are state by state. In Europe, you can drink alcohol at 16, but you cannot drink liquor. You can't drink hard liquor. So you can drink wine, you can drink beer, you can drink like spirit coolers, you can drink like
But no whiskey.
no whiskey,
No
no
whiskey.
vodka, no rum. Like you can't drink hard liquor. You
I
can
get
drink
it. Yeah, I
like
see. Fucking
so when I was
Europeans.
because when I went to Austria, this was like in my high school like final year. We were a group who were aged 17 to 18, and I was in the 18 group. And you'd go into a bar and they'd stamp you according to your age. If you're under the age of 18, they would give you like, for example, a blue stamp, and if you're over the age of 18, they'd give you like a red stamp. And when you go to the bar and order your drink, they will see what stamp you have. And if you try to order whiskey with a stamp that says you're under 18, they're just going to say no. Well, they're supposed to. We all know how these things work.
I mean, the thing
But
the thing with like 18 is I think there's just less dumb. I mean, this is kind of a vibes thing. I think less people are stupider at 21 than 18. So keeping some legal gateways out of there. I think some places, like some people shouldn't be allowed to ever drive, first of all. But like, I don't know. I don't know.
so what gateway would you hold to 21 then?
Guns. Probably
That's fair.
guns. Guns. Um, like motorcycle licenses, boating licenses, pilots licenses, like a lot of the licenses that are kind of dangerous to obtain.
I don't think that's I think like if you can get a car driver's license,
But a car is a lot
you should
different
be able to.
than a plane and a boat.
With planes and boats, okay, I don't know about boats, but planes already have a far stricter metric for getting your license.
True, but I feel like that strictness kind of implies that you should be somewhat mature to be able to handle that. Like, I don't think many young people are even getting their pilot's license anyways. I
Do you,
associate people getting pilot's license with people in like their 40s.
yeah, do you know what it takes to get a actual pilot's license where you're allowed to like actually do stuff with it?
A fuck ton of shit.
Not
Fuck
only
ton of shit.
that, but you have to have a certain amount of time in the air.
Yeah.
Like, you actually have to have flight time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't know the
Well, it's like a
specifics of the
driving license
driver's
too. You
license
need to have driving time.
requirement.
Like I think it's like
Right.
40 hours of driving time before you get your license.
So we don't have that yet. We don't have driving time.
Huh. Well,
We
you
we don't have driving time at all. We get our licenses at 18.
just given to you.
Mm, I wish, and the way some people drive, you'd think so. But so the process here is that generally at, like, 16 or 17, you can get a learner's license. 17, I think, when you with that learner's license, it expires in about 12 months. That learner's license allows you to get behind the wheel of a car as long as there is a licensed adult in the seat next to you,
We
in
have
the
that here
passenger
too.
seat. Right, but there's no requirement for driving time. Once you get comfortable driving, you go do your driver's test. To get your learner's license, by the way, you have to write a written test.
We have that too.
Right? So that's just for your learners. And when you get your drivers, you go do a practical test.
We have that as well.
Right.
Wahaha.
So the only difference there is the driving time.
Yeah. I think driving time. I feel like in like you need to have like 10 hours of driving. Like that's like okay. I think you
The
probably
thing
accrue
is that
that.
you're gonna get that learning to do the practical side of driving anyway.
Yeah, but like having it on paper, being like, yeah, just make sure you actually have done driving on your own with
I
like
think
someone.
that putting the requirement on paper is an unnecessary use of money, resources, and paperwork. Because somebody has to check that, right?
True, true. I don't
Like
know.
that is not
I guess I just don't see any
a
harm in not having it or also having it. So it's like very
for me,
harmless.
it's more just like you could manage things better. Like you don't need to go and verify driving time. Like that's a silly thing that's ancillary to the actual point. Can you drive? That's the question.
True, true. It
Long stream last night.
was a long stream last night.
But yeah, I mean this all came off the tattoo thing.
Yeah.
But I guess,
Yeah.
I kind of just I think that a lot of these things are very vibes based when it comes to the age restrictions for a lot of things in countries. Like in all the countries in the world, not just the US and South Africa, but if you look at like Europe, for example, why is the drinking age so low? It's like because when
Culturally,
you go back to medieval times, this is what they were doing anyway.
they were just having fun.
And like these were people who were drinking heavily in medieval times, wouldn't you?
Yeah, what else is there to do? Farm?
Fuck.
I would die so quickly if I was in medieval times. Like if I was sent there right now, I don't know what I would do. I guess I'd like head to the nearest court, like the king's court, and just be like, "I come bringing gifts," and then I hand them like whatever fancy thing I have on
Chances
me.
are you wouldn't even be able to understand what they're saying. Never mind them understand what you're saying.
Prithee thee, I bring gifts to thee.
No, it wasn't even really like that. Remember that
I
we
know.
have this image. I just think it's interesting to also think about like we have this image of medieval times being thee and thous, and it's like
That's just
90%,
Shakespeare.
95% of the population couldn't read.
Yeah. That shit was all
Most of
Shakespeare.
them couldn't. No, I mean pre-Shakespeare. Shakespeare wasn't medieval times.
No,
Shakespeare
no,
was
no, no. He
Victorian.
wrote about he wrote about no, he wasn't Victorian. He was Elizabethan. He was like
Is
Renaissance.
Elizabeth.
He
Yeah,
he
right,
wrote
right.
about the medieval times though with that language.
Yes, but yeah, but we don't write about medieval times in their language now. Like he
Yeah.
used certain
Yeah.
parts of what they thought the language was like, but language is ever evolving. Just look at the last
No,
100 years.
Shakespeare wrote about medieval times in the way he did as a stylistic choice to be like as a form of like using language as an art. Like he used that for all of
Getting
his
lost in the
plays.
source here. Why Shakespeare wrote what he wrote when I have a whole different point.
I guess I'm just not understanding what you're saying, which is
What I'm
usual.
saying is, I lost it. Oh no, we went down a different rabbit hole than I was.
Bleh. I was just thinking because like, because you said Shakespeare. Because you said we thought we associate these and thous with medieval times, but nobody knew how to read back then. They weren't speaking like that. They weren't speaking all fancy. They're speaking in like old English and shit, old versions of language because they change and evolve. And then I brought up Shakespeare,
More Anglo-Saxon.
Anglo-Saxon. That's what it is.
Yeah, more Anglo-Saxon type language. And which is influenced by
German,
French and
Anglo-Saxon,
German.
Saxon,
French and German.
German. Which is why English is so fucking weird.
English is a language put together by other languages.
Very hot take to say that English is a weird language.
Not really, no.
Such a hot take. No one's ever said it before.
Fair.
No one has ever said that it makes no sense. This has never been said before. You know what I always hated? Speaking of
What?
people saying this makes no sense and I hate this and hating that, like just complaining. I hated in school whenever we just be in class and there's just someone who every single day just goes, ugh, ugh, this is so dumb. Why are we even doing like just complaining about literally everything? Like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like we'd be
You
in
know what
like
that makes
English
me think
class and
of?
shit. What does it make you think
What do
of?
you think about that kid? There was that viral video, like ages ago, I don't even know how long ago, of that kid who was thrown out of class and he was telling the teacher, like, it's your fucking job to educate these people. It's your job to inspire these people. And you want to throw me out for expressing an opinion about my education, my future, when it's your fucking job
Well,
to,
what did
like,
what did he say to get thrown out?
well, I didn't see that part of the clip.
Because that entirely
I
depends
don't
on
think
that.
that part was clearly clipped, but either
Because
way, he definitely had a point when he walked out.
the thing is, whenever people like, I always see stuff like that, and I go, I gotta see what they originally said, because sometimes people would like do something that is justified, like no, like something that is either like they'll do something that is bad and they get justifiably thrown out, and then they say something that is like accidentally really really good, and then all you see is their react, like them saying that, and you think that they're in the right, but they could have been just being an asshole and like an obstructive piece of shit, but they also could have been like legitimately good, and what they're saying is legitimately like what they think, and it's a good opinion, and that's the thing. So like if I'm going on the assumption that they said something good, then
Let's go with that assumption.
I think
And what do
then
you
yeah,
think then?
I agree. I think it's bad to throw kids out of the room unless they're like being a harm to other people. Like if unless they're like actively being violent, I don't think someone should be removed from the room. And not even like loud and shouty. I mean like physically throwing hands. I think that's the only
Throwing
like that's the only time that I think someone should be removed from the classroom, because the classroom is the first social environment that like most people come into, and it is one that people exist in for like 10 years or more, sometimes less. So like the environment that is created there is kind of like a trial run at the rest of your life. So like you're getting it's like a learning period to learn how to be normal in a society, or just how to behave and like how to not fucking make everyone hate you. You know, it's like it's a learning curve to not like be a petulant child, or it's a learning curve to meet people and like socialize. Like it, like you need that like that environment for
I
people.
think I found the clip. I think
You
I
found the
found the
clip.
clip.
Okay.
The teacher told me quit bitching, and I wasn't gonna just sit there and take it. If you would just
Oh, here we go. Okay.
teach them instead of handing them a freaking packet, yo. There's kids in here who don't learn like that, but they need to learn face to face. You're just getting mad because I'm pointing out the obvious, and you're wasting my time. No, I'm not wasting your time. I'm telling you what you need to do. You want kids to come into your class, you want them to get excited for this, you gotta come in here, you gotta make them excited. You want a kid to change and start doing better, you gotta touch his freaking heart. You can't expect a kid to change if all you do is just tell him. You gotta take this job serious. This is the future of this nation. And when you come in here, like you did last time, and make a statement about, oh, this is my paycheck, indeed it is.
Oh, this is my paycheck.
My country's future and my education. But there's a limit. When I'm not bitching, but simply making an observation. And now I will leave. You're welcome.
Okay, I like that.
You see,
I don't like the way
when
it
a
was
teacher
presented.
comes in and tells the students, "This is my paycheck," that teacher can immediately go fuck themselves.
Yeah, that's the type of shit that I hate. Alright, so with the context provided, yeah, I do think that guy had a point, and that wasn't like, because when in my head I was thinking of like a heated argument. You know, I was thinking of like yelling, and it's like, okay, like I don't know really what's going on here. But that was very much like that guy was rational. He was thoughtful about his words. I could very much tell.
I can tell, like, regardless of that kid's accent, because look, that accent does infer certain things. At least, look, I'm not perfect either, right? But what that kid said, the content of his
actual
words,
profiling.
actually, yeah, well, the content of his words, right? You can't refute anything of
No.
what he said.
No, he said everything pretty much on the spot. I've seen things like that, like
And he was
conversations like that
eloquent
happen in
about it.
class.
He was
Yeah.
fucking eloquent. And the thing is that you can hear he's speaking loudly, and you can hear there's a frustration and an anger in his voice. But he was not shouting.
He was
I
just
will
loud.
point out, he was not shouting. That's big.
Yeah.
That's big.
He has a good he had a good composure there. He kept himself composed. There was a bit of shakiness in his voice at the beginning, which made like when he was walking, he was like the way he was walking and talking, it kind of reminded me of like how I've seen people like when they're very upset
Obviously
and like
dejected.
yeah, like they're just like they're upset and they want to say what they've been thinking in their head for a while, and it kind of all comes out. But then he really like pulled it back and like
I think what you can't hear her say, but he references her saying is like,
give him a
I
packet.
think she says like he's wasting her time.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, I'm not wasting your time. Like, this is important. I think that's what gave him the turnaround from that dejected sort of, okay, I'm getting thrown out now, to like, you know what? I am going to say it.
Yeah. Like the thing with a lot of teachers is they just view it as a job. They don't view it as like teaching. They view it as it's the job. They hate kids. They hate teaching. They hate what they do. And there's nothing you can really do to change that. You just gotta replace them. Like really, you just gotta like go to a new job. Go somewhere else. Like a lot of teachers only do it because I mean, let's be real here. A lot of them only do it because they were women in the 70s. It's the only thing they could do. So like, you gotta give them some slack there, but also like, I don't have to give them that much slack if they're being pieces of shit to students.
The thing is, teachers should get actual breaks from teaching, I think.
Yeah. Like
I
a
don't
year
mean
off.
like a summer break, like a year or two off. Maybe do a different job, you know? Experience outside life, outside of like the schooling system. Because when you're a teacher, I feel like, at least in South Africa, I've seen this be very true, but teachers seem very sheltered off from the rest of the world themselves, because what happens is that they're at the school early in the morning, they spend half the day teaching classes, then they spend the other half of the day doing paperwork, like grading papers and setting up lessons, going through like whatever. And then, you know, a lot of their home time is spent grading papers as well, because apparently all we can fucking do with kids these days is give them papers. But they have to check homework, they have to check, like, I don't know how big the classrooms get in America, but the South African education system is suffering really badly. And one of the issues is that you have like up to 50 kids in one classroom.
Yeah, I mean,
Think about that on a primary school level.
I don't think they get as big as I've never seen one that gets as big as 50, but I've never really been in that big of a school. I mean, I have been in big school districts, but like they've split this district into several schools, but like I do know of classes that get that big. The biggest class I was ever in, not counting college classes, because those get to be pretty big.
Yeah,
Um,
those are
and
especially
that's a different ballpark.
first, second, third year. Like you get pretty big classes, but those are lectures,
Those are
not you're
like
being lectured at.
I think the biggest like elementary school class I was in was probably 23 people.
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
I feel like that's reasonable.
But we also
But
had a
my
district.
class,
We also had a district that was able to. When I lived there, it was a smaller school district, and then when we moved to the one I'm in now, it's a lot of people, but we have enough money, so there's a bunch of fucking schools. Like there's 8 elementary schools in the town I live in.
my class from like let's say 5th to 7th grade, right? My
Mm,
class was generally about 40 kids
40 kids.
because the primary school that I went to, right? At the time that I went there, had for each grade, for each like year, they had 3 classes that were Afrikaans and 1 class that was English.
Oh, okay.
So with 3 different classes, so the Afrikaans kids were split like 20, 20, 20. They were like, roughly 20 to 25 in each of them. But because there was only 1 English class, if you went to the school as an English student, you were put into that class and just shoved in, you know?
Right.
There was the odd classroom that we had to squeeze in a desk. Just think about that
I'm
for
trying to
like a
think about it. It's
learning
crazy.
education like level, like your foundational education.
I mean that is crazy.
Yeah. And then when I went to high school, my high school that I went to had 3 Afrikaans classes and 1 English class
Okay,
per
that's
grade.
crazy too.
So the issue just continued. You can imagine how that affects your
Yeah,
education.
because it's like not only like I think that a part of it is just an issue that comes with being in a country that has multiple languages. Because it's also like, well, there's like no one, there's like a lot less people to socialize with if you can't speak the language they do. But that's true just
Yeah,
for any multilingual country.
but just think
Um,
about the fact that like every year, right, from basically from primary school all the way through to the end of high school, consistently my class in each grade was considered the worst class, like for teachers, like the naughtiest, if you will.
I mean,
But just think about the logistics of the why.
because it's 40 people in a room who are with each other and no one else for all of schooling. Of course, there's gonna be shit.
And all the Afrikaans classes were teachers' favorites.
Ugh.
Funny thing is, once you got out on the playground, right? Like once you got out of the actual classroom onto the playground, still in school time, but between classes, the naughtiest kids individually were the Afrikaans ones.
Not surprised. Not surprised because like more of them. There's more of an opportunity for them
Not
to
just
stand
that.
out.
To me, it does also come down to the local culture here. So Afrikaans culture is very, as a whole, it leans incredibly conservative,
Mm,
right? Like
mm.
generally, if these people move to America, they'd vote for the Republicans. 9 times out of 10. They don't they're taught from a very young age, respect your elders beyond anything. Like you are just a kid and your elders hold power over you. It's a sentiment I don't agree with.
Any culture that does that, I just kind of view as like old, archaic.
Archaic, right? That's a great way to put it. But English kids, generally, like as a broad cultural sort of term, compared to the Afrikaans, are taught more along the lines of have discussions with your parents, talk about things, express your opinion, stand by your values. you know,
I
in a
like that a
more of
lot
like
more.
find your values and stand by them. Whereas Afrikaans culture is like, yeah, these are your values. If you get the difference there. So I think that those classrooms, those Afrikaans classrooms, were more well behaved in the classroom with the teacher because the teacher was the adult in the room, and you must respect the adult. Because if those kids were caught disrespecting a teacher, when they got home, they were beaten.
Which we don't even need to break into that fucking
Right. We don't.
nightmare.
That's a different rabbit hole altogether. But the idea is they were punished for talking back to a teacher. Those kids were not punished for bullying other kids.
Yeah, they were punished for fucking disrespect. That's so
You
I hate
disrespected the
that.
adult, and you will be punished. You disrespected a fellow student. Kids will be kids.
I hate that so much.
Whereas in an English household, you get punished for both.
Buh.
Maybe that's just what my experience there. But
Nah, same.
I do think that I have good standing on that sort of perspective. I think that my observations, although they may be generalized in this conversation, I do think my observations hold up.
I mean,
Because I've spoken to Afrikaans kids and they agree. They agree with just about every single part of the sentiment of like, yes, we are taught respect the adults. We are taught like you don't talk back to your elders and all that sort of stuff. But they aren't taught like mutual respect. They are taught like my father was Afrikaans.
yeah.
He believed that because he was my father, he was owed respect.
I hate that so much.
I was raised primarily by my mother. My parents divorced when I was a little baby.
Little baby.
I was raised primarily by my mother, who taught me that respect is earned.
Because it
Right?
is.
You don't just give respect because respect. Respect is earned on an individual basis, and my father did nothing to earn my respect. So I did not respect him. And I will say that. Like it's wild to me, this idea that you hold a certain position, whether it be familial or even governmental, where you say, oh, I am the person in the seat, therefore you must respect me. It's like, how about be respectable?
It's a very ancient way of seeing things. I'd say patriarchal, but I feel like this would exist in any society that has any sort of domination. This would exist if it was matriarchal. It's only patriarchal because of just the history of that. But like, it is a very like fucking like Roman way of viewing it. You know, it's like
It is.
an
It's institutional.
imperial,
It's like,
an
beyond
imperial.
patriarchal, it's institutional, and the
Well,
institution is historic.
institutionalism kind of is based and rooted in that history of patriarchal norms because the institution is patriarchal.
Yes, but that's what
So,
I was about to say, is
sorry.
that it's more institutional, and the institutions have historically always been run by men.
My bad.
You see, if you let me finish a sentence from time to time, I might say something. I might say something smart.
I just
I
want to
might.
add the conversations.
You do.
I want to add the conversations.
You say that like you aren't like
I'm
the other half of
I'm
this podcast.
eager. I'm eager to say
Not like we have
things.
9 people in here.
If we had 9 people in here, I would never say anything.
I doubt that.
No, I am so nervous of being in like group situations of saying things. Like whenever in a group project, like working on something, I'm always the silent one who waits until no one says anything and go, "Okay, so we're doing this." Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can continue.
No, I mean, but that is basically the point there, is that when it comes to matters of respect, and you know what? As far as conservative culture like worldwide goes, I think that is a large part of why there is a lack of respect for women in the world.
Yep.
Because
Well,
we
yeah.
aren't taught to give mutual respect. We're taught to give respect to institutions and the positions in those institutions rather than, like, at some point in history, it was seen as patriotic in the US to be able to say, hey, I don't agree with this president. I don't agree with the leadership. As far as I know, that was one of the things that the founding fathers themselves were very much, you know,
Yeah, that was one of the things that
they stood
it was in
on
the Constitution and stuff. It was
ideologically.
like, oh, like if a
Like the
government doesn't
civil
serve its
militia,
people, you
the
need to,
reason
yeah,
you're allowed to have guns.
is to like protest with them. You
What a
know,
wild country.
what a
Either
wild
way,
country.
like at some point in history, it became un-American to badmouth the president,
Cold
no
War.
matter who he was.
Cold War.
I feel like it's very, it rings to me very like Nixon, Reagan.
It was it McCarthyism is kind of what started it, because that was just a general don't criticize the government sort of thing. We have all these communists, and if you're a communist, you're a communist if you do this, you know, like Red Scare,
Yeah, Red
anti
Scare.
House of
That's
Un-American
another rabbit
committees and
hole.
stuff. It started
That's
there,
a,
and that's what that
that's
started.
a rabbit hole, but it is something that has been now solidified where, like, do they really like this is the problem they point out with the Democrats as well. Don't just shake his hand and say good game and give fascism the office of the presidency.
It's unearned respect. Like they had a whole campaign where they were like, he's a fascist, he's a Nazi. Look at all these people in his former cabinet who were saying he's a Nazi. He's gonna destroy the country if he wins, and then he wins, and he's like, the stars shine the brightest in the darkest of skies.
Mr. President elect.
Mr. President elect, I give you a good game. You know, it's like, well, fuck
Like,
you. You're horrible, and I hate you, and I hope the history books like write you down as the worst human being who ever lived. That's a bit of an
because
exaggeration, but
people will point to a
oh, the
lot of things
sentiment
about
is there.
Biden's presidency, good and bad. But I think that there is nothing in Biden's entire legacy that will ever wash away him just quietly shaking Donald Trump's hand
I
and
think
saying, well, here it is. Here's the
I
presidency.
think Biden's reputation is entirely gonna be like the president who fucked up. Like he's gonna be seen like how we kind of see like Hoover with the Great Depression. We're gonna see him like that, but for whatever the fuck Trump's bringing. Or he's like, yeah, he could have stopped it, but he was ineffective and a piece of shit and didn't do anything to stop it. So it's like Biden, the supposed to be one-term president who decided to run again and then drop out midway through his campaign and then put his VP have his VP forced to be the next presidential pick, and she was horrible and she's also just as bad, but he was worse because he put in a situation. Also, he was a genocidal genocide supporter. Like everything good that he did is gonna get undone by Trump, so you don't have anything to worry about there. You know, he's just gonna be one of the worst
Is there
presidents.
really any president of the United States in the last 100 years that wasn't a genocide supporter?
Jimmy Carter.
So Jimmy Carter never sent anything to Israel at all,
Jimmy
ever
Carter
for
did.
anything.
Jimmy Carter actively worked to stop Israel. Like he was the only
In
president who
his
tried.
presidency.
Yeah, in his presidency, the Camp David Accords. That was the peace deal between between Israel and Egypt. That because they had the war going on. He signed the peace deal that like made Israel give back land to Egypt and stop fucking fighting Egypt. So like yeah, Jimmy Carter, and then he continued to
Okay.
afterwards be pro-Palestine like the
So
rest of his
you
life.
have one president in 100 years that wasn't a supporter of genocide. Because even by that narrative,
JFK.
what did
JFK and LBJ.
Jeff-
They didn't really, because the thing is, back then Israel wasn't really doing much with the USA's involvement. It was mostly Britain, and LBJ and JFK didn't really get involved in that anyway. So I guess they didn't support a genocide, but everyone else, yeah, pretty much.
I'm hearing a lot of apology.
Well, Aaron, apology. I'm just saying that LBJ and JFK didn't really do much with Israel because Israel was mostly a British thing at that point.
Being close allies of the British and
Well,
didn't
like to
invent
like,
that.
well, fuck
All I'm
it. It's
saying is that they
geopolitics.
weren't exactly out. Yeah, all I'm saying is that they weren't exactly out there fighting for the
No, no,
Palestinians.
not saying that. The only one who did that was kind of Carter, but mostly it was after his presidency.
Which I imagine had a lot to do with the fact that the actual seat of the presidency is not, and has not been for a long time, the true seat of power in the US.
It's very powerful seat. It's definitely like the most powerful person in the world in most situations. But a lot of the time,
Yes,
money matters more and sways that seat more than anything else.
money and the general geopolitics, as you say, like, no president can actually dismantle the military industrial complex.
It's just too many things going against it. There's
Like,
so much moving parts, so many interests aligning and misaligning and stuff.
because look, I
Incomprehensible to
will say
understand.
this, for at least, I don't know how many years, but long before I was born, anything military that a president did, anything you want to blame a president for militarily, was probably more to do with his generals.
Yeah,
Because that's A, where he gets all his information, and B, where he gets all his advice from on those military situations. So when people say, like, oh, Obama, like, bombed so many people with drones, it's like, you know what? He was probably told to do that by the military industrial complex.
definitely.
He was told that that is the best option.
I mean, that's literally what happened with Bush. Like Bush, like Donald
Bush is a
Rumsfeld.
warmonger, though.
Yeah, he is, but like Donald Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney used that to like get what they wanted out of the Bush administration.
Yeah. But I mean, I just don't want people to forget that without those provocations, the Bush family are warmongers.
Yeah, definitely. But they were used. They had their warmongeringness used as a
Directed.
leverage. Yeah, by
They,
even
they,
worse people.
yeah, and worse people were behind the scenes, basically nudging them in the directions. But they would have found a war one way or another.
We're
I
gonna
mean,
have
just
that
the
happen
fact that
again. Trump's presidency is gonna be
what,
another Bush where that happens again.
what we're
Some
gonna you
someone
we're
who
gonna
is someone who's hateful and like a bad president, like horrible president and everything, but his hatred is like used by the people behind the scenes to like manipulate him into doing like Bush shit, like warmonger shit.
I mean,
We're gonna have that
that
happen
sounds
again.
about accurate. Isn't that pretty much Trump's whole bit?
Yep, we're gonna have that happen again. American politics. I hate living here.
So, did you see that the Mexican president responded in a press conference to Trump's claims of taking over Mexico?
Yeah, she said that forever ago. She was like,
No, like she had like
"Is a
a
new
press
one?"
conference where she brought out
Oh,
a
a
map.
press conference. Oh, oh, show me this. I like Claudia
I don't,
Scheinbaum. She seems pretty good.
Let me see if I can find this.
Yeah, she won last October, I'm pretty sure. Like she won a while ago and was inaugurated last October. She seems like a good person. Her party's pretty new, which is typically a good sign. For like it's like a new party that has a lot of people in it. It's typically a good sign in my opinion because it means that there's like support and like a new wave of like a movement for it. Um she's a scientist, which is definitely better than a career politician in Mexico because there's less chance of a scientist having history of just completely being bought out by like the cartel than like a career politician from Mexico. Like Mexico is just really tied down by all the fucking cartel shit. And that's got to be like priority number one to dealing with if you're a president who wants to like improve the country is to just fucking settle the cartel issue. I worded it like it was a Hoi 4
You
focus.
fucking
Settle the cartel issue. It's a Hoi 4
said
focus.
what cartel issue. I think I found a clip here of a little bit of it.
Oh, show me.
Y obviamente el Golfo de México es reconocido el nombre por Naciones Unidas, un organismo de Naciones Unidas, pero el siguiente, ¿por qué no le llamamos América Mexicana? Se oye bonito, ¿no? ¿Verdad que sí? Desde 1607, la Constitución de Apatzingán era de América Mexicana. Entonces, vamos a llamarle América Mexicana.
Oh, Mexican America.
Tell me that that's not fucking shots fired.
It's very funny. I just know that, I mean, like, obviously, like, the thing is right now, with Trump at the helm, he is being a boisterous, like, saber rattling, like, I'm gonna invade this place, I'm gonna invade that place, I'm gonna invade all over, I'm gonna buy Greenland, I'm gonna take back the Panama Canal, Canada will be the 51st state, Mexico will become America too, you know, like, he's saying all this. Canada is being taken over by a right-wing government right now, so, like, they'll probably go along whatever the fuck they want him to do. Canada's not getting annexed, but, you know, Canada submitting to needed
Process
Trump
for
will
that
probably happen.
would take I feel like the process of
That's
getting Canada annexed,
That's-
quote unquote,
that's actually
would take
Fallout.
a lot more than just one president.
Legit
or-
Fallout lore right now.
Yeah, like it would take. I feel like just looking at it on a realistic scale, Trump couldn't do that in 4 years.
God
himself.
no! God no!
Even with the support of the Canadian government, if they're right-leaning and they're becoming Trumpists themselves, even with their support, he could not get this right.
The Hoi 4 70-day focus. Why not do it? In 70 days, just done.
Right?
Are you there?
Yeah, I said right.
Yeah, no, because you cut out a bit. I thought you said Riley and it just cut out. Anyway, but like the thing is, so he's setting Panama Canal. That's fucking Panama. I don't know what the hell's gonna happen with that. Greenland. Denmark's not selling Greenland. He's not going to war for fucking Greenland.
We are talking about the fact that, like, you know, the president in 11 days of the United States of America is talking about buying Greenland.
He was talking about that in his first term too.
Like, it's not even, look, as you say, they're not even their own quote unquote country, but they are an autonomous territory.
They are.
Do you know what that
like
means?
Scotland. Actually, more than Scotland.
More than Scotland.
Anyway, this is beside the point again. We're getting distracted a lot today. I meant to bring all this up because nobody is playing ball with Trump's thing. Like, nobody's even, like, Canada is going along with it. Panama is Panama. Denmark is Denmark. Like, those are small countries that have fucking nothing going on. But then Mexico. Panama's pissed, but Panama's Panama. What the fuck is Panama gonna do? Like, I don't know what the hell's gonna happen with the Panama Canal. I don't know if he's gonna go through with that. I have no idea. I can't even make a fucking prediction because it's so out there. But with Mexico,
I think it's gonna be like a Mexican border wall situation.
Maybe. With Mexico, he's being inflammatory and saying things that are like trying to incite further escalation. And I don't know if what Claudia Scheinbaum's doing is best for, like, avoiding escalation. But also at the same time, I don't think that matters because I think Trump would ramp up escalation regardless of what she does. I guess it's too early to say anything. He's not even president yet officially.
The thing is, what are her alternatives here?
Really, it's just ignoring him and being like, he's being a raving idiot.
Bad alternative.
He's like,
that
oh,
just
Trump's being a raving
to
idiot.
Control the narrative.
Yeah, but also, like, he would control it anyway because it's not like Americans are watching Mexican
right now,
people.
No, they're not watching Mexican people, but they are watching, like, at least leftist people are watching leftist discuss this. This was something I saw on multiple leftist YouTube channels from the US.
Yeah, but also leftists would already be against Trump, and they would already side with Mexico.
Yes, but they also talk to Republicans.
And they're not
You
changing their
forget they
mind.
live in the same country.
Yeah, but
they work in
Republicans
the same
don't. They're
workplace.
too, like, you can't
They go to
reason
the
with
same
most
schools.
Republicans anymore. They don't give a fuck. They don't
But at
care.
least they're-
They
Yes.
don't care.
So just because the narrative is going to be mainly like overpowered by one voice that won't shut the fuck up, that means you just let it happen without any
No.
sort of pushback.
No,
This is
I just
what
know
I'm
what I'm
saying.
saying. What I'm saying is, I don't think. If Claudia Scheinbaum is like, actually, we should call it Mexican America, I think that makes Republicans fucking angry, and that only feeds into it more.
So how do you think Mexicans feel when Trump says, "Hey, we're just gonna rename it the Gulf of America"?
I get a little worried when, like, the idea of America fucking invading a Mexico goes, because that's fucking horrible.
It is horrible.
And it's probably gonna fucking get close to that.
And you
I
know
don't
what?
know. I don't know.
Gloria Scheinbaum just sat there and shut the fuck up about this whole thing, it would probably be even more likely. Because we know what happens when Trump and Trumpists and MAGA people and Republicans in general get to run away with a story.
You're right. I just have no fucking hope when it comes to Republicans.
I'm not saying you have to change people's minds, but you have to push to a point where you can put the topic to rest, where they're either somebody that you do want to, how can I say, have close to you, or somebody that you're going to rather keep further because you know that their political beliefs are going to affect the friendship in that way. I'm not saying like throw people away for having different political beliefs, right? You and I, we have basically different political beliefs. We're both on the left, but one of us
Our
is...
differences are very minor, though.
Because we are on the left, so a lot of that does like track. A lot of like...
And in the same
normal
circles of the left,
conservatives
too.
agree with shit Trump says. You know, they disagree with some of the Trump stuff that
They
Trump
disagree,
says,
but then they'll die for him anyway.
no, I'm talking about normal conservatives.
No, they will. They will. I know many people who are like, I don't agree with many things, but, you know, at the end of the day, I will vote for him. And it's like, oh, fuck you.
I don't consider those the normal conservatives.
They are, though, because that's the normal
I'm
conservative.
talking about normal people who are conservative.
They're Democrats now.
You want me to get fucking like specific on this?
No, I'm just so, I have no
people who are
respect.
Republican who did not vote
I
Trump.
have no, that they don't exist. I have no respect for Americans anymore. I don't. Like, you're like,
There's
I don't.
no split in the Republican Party.
No, I don't care anymore. I hate Republicans. If you're a
The
fucking
Cheneys
Republican, I hate
didn't
you.
support Kamala Harris.
No, because the fucking Democrats are also Republicans. Everyone's a fucking Republican. I hate them all. I hate them all. I hate them all. I'm crashing out. I'm crashing out.
You're crashing out.
I'm crashing out. I hate this. I hate America. I hate America so much.
Can you really say that? Well, in 11 days you can't
Yes,
say that.
I can say that.
When's our next podcast?
Our next
okay,
podcast.
you can say that on this podcast and the next one, but after that you can't say that.
No, we can't say that in the next one because it'll go uploaded after he's inaugurated.
Isn't the inauguration the 20th though? That's Monday.
It's the 20th, yeah. Oh, it's a Monday? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. So yeah, we can say that.
So you could say it on the next one, but not after that. That's a bit mean. But the point I'm trying to get at though on this is just generally like, yes, you can't reason with a lot of the people. And you can't change a lot of the people's minds. And you can't turn them away from beliefs that they're going to hold until they die. But if you don't say your say, they will always win. Because it's not about convincing just that person. Remember, every conversation you have about this is teaching you more about your own beliefs. It's teaching you more about their beliefs. You know, Get to the core of the things. When somebody like that mutual friend brings up this particular court case, proves this, this, and that, like, point out to them that it is just one court case. And if they bring you 2, bring you 3, then say, cool, now you're starting to gather something. Where are the full numbers? Bring me all of the court case. And we'll look at all of them. Because picking and choosing like that, you see, you get to the core of these issues. When they're allowed to pick and choose, when they're allowed to control the questions, this is a thing that the left has done wrong for years. For years and years and years. Is that the right wing or the extremists will say something wild and stupid, and then the sane people will try and argue the stupid and crazy thing. Where they don't try and go, okay, wait, stop, cut all the fat out. What are the core issues at hand here? It's the trans thing. Why is, like, chess separated? Like, why do gay people not get married if marriage is not a necessarily Christian institution? Islam has marriage, atheism has marriage, Hinduism has marriage. Like, where are the allowances? Where are the lines? You have to understand these things. You have to know these things. You have to explore these concepts further than just, oh, but Christianity says it's wrong, so that's why the government should say it's wrong. It's like, but listen, where's the freedom of religion? Where is the freedom of expression? Where are these freedoms anymore? And it's because every time some fucking idiot brings up the extremist viewpoints that they have, then the left is like, or I'm not even going to say the left, because it's not even just that. It's the same people try to argue these fucking points like they matter. Like, they're eating the cats and dogs. It's like, why are you arguing about whether they are or are not? Talk about the fact of where does that rhetoric even come from? Show the real cases. Don't say they and gesture vaguely at the fucking distance. Like, these are all pitfalls. And it makes people dejected, and it makes people fall, and it makes people stop fighting it, and it makes people go, why doesn't this is just escalation? What if we need escalation? What if we need a president who goes, I am going to invade Mexico, and then the population goes, no, this far and no further? You know what I mean? Like, at some point, you have to understand that these things don't change unless certain things break. And it sucks, and it's awful, and it hurts, and people die. People die for their ideologies all around the world every day. But if we don't do something, Gloria Scheinbaum is doing something. Every time Trump has come out and said something about Mexico, she stood up and she said, you know what? I'm not going to stand for it. And that is something I can get behind. I can see why she's the president of Mexico. I got really passionate there.
Yeah. The thing that just I don't know how to do when discussing politics is just add anything, because I don't know what to say a lot of the times. I just go, yeah, I agree. Like, because yeah, I agree. Like, I just tune out because I don't. It's the only way I can, like, go, not just fucking have my head shut off from all the words that are being said, how quickly they are.
Yeah, I mean, look, I wasn't always like this either, I used to also just disassociate and tap out and go, like, what's the fucking point of it all? But at some point, it's like, these things matter. Like, they really, how can I say, they matter in a grand sense, in a big sociological sense, in a we all live in this world kind of sense. Like, every time a Republican wins and every time the right wing comes up and takes over a country or does something like that, we see worse climate change. We see people getting tread on by systems that oppress them. We see death, we see destruction every time it happens. And most of the time, throughout history, it happens because the good guys get tired of fighting the fight. Because the bad guys want to fight the fight. You see, therein lies the difference. You know, we can all pray for peace until the end of fucking days, but as long as we have warmongers ruling our nations, ruling our world, because it goes beyond the nation. You have President-elect fucking Donald Trump, somebody who hypes up people like fucking Erdogan. And nobody, like, think about, I understand that Trump says like a million manic things a minute, right? Like Trump says a million wild things a minute. But do we ever just stop and think about what exactly is being said on a grander sense of like, oh, just another Trump thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he says so many manic, wild, stupid, silly things a fucking second. We never stop and go, wait. This is the kind of person who hypes up actual dictators in oppressive regimes that make it illegal to be alive in the wrong way.
How did we get here? Why did we get here? I don't understand.
You got me all fired up about the political thing.
I don't understand. This is why I just they get so passionate political discussions that it's just like it gets away from whatever the point was that it gets like we start with something and then it's just like a boulder that just keeps going and it just keeps going like a snowball down a hill that becomes like a big boulder, you know. It's like at some point it's just like, well, I don't know what to say because we went in a million directions that it's just like, yeah,
Pick a direction.
I don't know. I don't want to pick a direction. I don't want to.
I don't,
Recent events have
in an
made me
ambiguous sense, maybe.
recent events have made me just so depressed when it comes to the political scene that I'm just like I get passionate, but not right now at 1 p.m. and I haven't had lunch yet, you know? It's like there's an energy. It's like
Hey, you decided to record now.
I didn't know we'd be talking about so much politics now. You know, this is the normal time we record. Like
You
I
do
get
realize with what's coming up this year,
that's why I'm fucking depressed as
politics is
shit when we're
going to
talking
be
about
a
politics.
lot of our episodes.
This is why I'm depressed by it because it's so hopeless. Like I can
It's
I
not
can
hopeless.
I am just like
I don't think
recent
it's hopeless.
events have just drained me of political discussion. I'm not like dispassionate about politics. I've gotten passionately angry at Democrats on this podcast a lot. I've gotten passionately
Yeah.
angry at like people missing fucking like the forest for the trees when it comes to political discussions and not understanding. Like I have agreed with you on these points so many times. I've had the same passion arguments. It's just right now today I am just so dead. Maybe it's because I had 4 hours of sleep.
Maybe.
Maybe it's
Maybe.
because it's a lot of shit going on today, and it's just like a lot. I'm crashing the fuck out over here. I don't
You're
know.
crashing the fuck out.
I'm crashing the fuck out. I don't
Do you
know.
want to call you there?
I think so, yeah. Sorry. I don't
No,
know.
don't say sorry. It's okay. Look, I will say this, right? Before we do end off, I'll say this. I get very, very riled up about this stuff lately. Much more than I did when I was in my like early 20s. I do get far more passionate about it now. I do fight back a lot harder. I don't just do the point and laugh at the dumb country doing dumb things. And I don't just mean America, I mean a lot of countries, including my own. I don't just point and laugh at it anymore. Because this shit, like, it has serious ramifications for everyone. Internationally, the world. Remember, I said this all the way back with the Mangione thing. Was sociologically, we're heading in a direction as a species that I'm not liking. So I do get kind of riled up, and it's okay to say like I tap out. I'm tired because this shit is. I guess I'm just making up for all those years.
I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just like, my God, it's just, I don't know. It's just, it's a rough time out there right now.
It is.
We need passion for like political discourse, but it's also like every day is already just such a fucking overbearing mess with it that whenever we start getting into discussion of like, we need to have, we need to seriously think about conservatives, and it's like, yeah, I know, I agree, and it's like, I agree with everything you're saying. It's just, you're saying it again, and it just makes me feel bad that nothing can be done. like there's nothing that can happen.
I will say this. Something can be done.
Like, what even though? Like, I don't. I'm crashing out.
I know. But I just don't want to leave you on the dejected thought of nothing can be done. That's why I'm not expanding on it here, because I've gotten a lot of like passion out on this podcast already, but I do want to leave you with the idea that something can be done in all cases.
I trust that, then. Next episode, no politics. None.
I'll try.
We'll talk about, unless like Trump gets shot or something. Unless like the Washington D.C. gets nuked or something. Mostly for the bit. God no. Mostly for the bit. God no.
I do think that you wouldn't survive if we got like a MAGA head on the podcast, though.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't survive.
No, that's why I don't want to bring on a guest to talk about politics. If we bring on a guest, I want it to be fun.
What I want to do.
That's the opposite of what I want to do. I don't want to do that. I want to have a guest to have fun with them.
The rat wants to fight. The rat wants to bite.
No, the rat's biting my hand to get out of it. No, I'm holding the rat in my hands, trying to keep it out of the fight, and it's biting my fingers. No, stop. I don't want to have people. Not right now. I don't want our first guest to just be a fucking political discussion. I want it to be fun. I want to have fun here. I've ruined this episode.
Thanks for joining us.
I'm titling this one the Riley Crashout or something.
Rat rage.
No,
despite all
the rage. Despite all the rage, Riley still crashes out at what rhymes with rage?
A lot of things. We'll have time to figure out titling.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you for joining us for this absolutely fucking wild episode.
What a fucking episode.
We really set the podcast on fire.
We did. Sorry about that again. Everyone have a good night. Have a good morning, good evening, night, morning, dusk, dawn. I've used that.
Enjoy your time on the spinning planet.
No. Don't enjoy it. Bye.
Bye.